Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Fiberista Files. Today is, I don't know what day of the week, Thursday I think. Yes, Thursday, May 26th, 2016. I'm your host Heather, also known as Boutros Babe on Ravelry and Plurk, and Fiberista Files on Twitter and Instagram. I'm also Highland Handmades on Instagram. I haven't done a whole lot with that account yet, but hopefully in the next few weeks that will increase. I apologize for being a little overexposed today. But I'm on the southeast corner of the house where my studio is, which I need the light for a photo, so it's great, but it does make me a little overexposed this time of day. It's 9:43 in the morning, so I would have waited until the afternoon, but I wanted to get this up today, and it takes a couple of hours to get everything edited and uploaded and shrunk and all that stuff. So you're getting a podcast now, and I look a little bit like powder. Sorry. If this is your first time viewing, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I appreciate you. I really do. Okay. I do have notes. I also just sent a text message, so I'll probably get a return. Sorry, checking Instagram. I got ear burned on something. And I expect my phone to go off. It's not on silent because it's just not. I like to hear the sounds, that's all. So, let's get started, shall we? Let's start with a week in review. I totally forgot to tell you guys last week, or last podcast, when I did my Maryland Sheep and Wool review, that I did actually purchase 2 fleeces, but I may have said it, but I didn't show you any of the locks. So I wanted to do that now before I forget again, because they're beautiful, and I'm so in love with them. So I bought 2 fleeces. The one that I specifically went there to get was the Tunis fleece, which I know I mentioned last time. Tunis is a fleece that I didn't know anything about until I spun a sample from the Spinning Loft sample kit that I won years ago, and I fell in love with the finished yarn. So that was one of the ones that I was specifically looking for. I'm really getting into breed-specific yarns, and obviously buying a fleece is a good way to do that. So this is the Tunis fleece. Let me tell you a little bit of info about it. They're on the floor behind me, sorry. Oh, you'll notice my studio did not get cleaned. That's what happens. That's the sound my plants make when I make them. They just laugh at me. Maybe after frolic, I don't know. Probably not. Life is crazy right now. It'll get clean when it gets clean. Okay, so the Tunis fleece is from, I got this at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and they have these, like, papers, and the papers have information on them, but they get all crunched up when you carry the fiber around. And of course it's all folded. Hang on. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Got it out of the bag. So this Tunis fleece is considered a medium. Like, they have fine, medium, and coarse. They also have, like, dual coated and other things, but it's in the medium category. It was a coated fleece, and it's from Cullen Stone Farm, which is in White Post, Virginia. I have a name, a farm name, and an address, but no, like, email address or anything. So I will have to Google Cullen Stone Farm when I'm done. I like to thank the breeders for the fleece when I have a good experience, because I feel like they must feel like I do, that when I send products out into the world, I never know how they are received or whether they are loved or when they're even used up. I just don't get to know those things very often, and I love to know that. So, yes. So the Tunis fleece was $3 a pound. That's an exceptional price for a raw fleece, especially considering that it's coated. So sorry, that's wrong. It's 3 pounds at $18 per pound. I read that wrong. Still a really good price. That's about the top of my threshold for raw fleece, simply because $18 a pound sounds pretty good until you figure in the loss of weight from lanolin and veggie matter and that sort of thing. So you're actually paying considerably more per pound. But this Tunis does not feel very lanolin-like. It's one of the reasons I don't buy merino fleeces, because you lose too much of the weight in lanolin. Anyhow, so the total price of this was $54. This is what the bag looks like. And this is what the actual lock looks like. It has a not very tight crimp. And then the ends are like curly cues, so they sort of curl up. And I did test them to make sure that the tips wouldn't break off. That's less likely to happen when a fleece is coated because they don't get cooked by the sun. This is, I mean, you can see it's got dog hair in it because this has been on my floor, but it fell down. But it's a nice looking staple length and very clean. This fleece is very clean. I cannot wait to wash it and get the lanolin out and spin it. Now the next fleece I was not looking for. If you have been paying attention, you know that I just knit a pattern. I just released a pattern called the Applicable Mittens, or Applicable Mittens, depending on how you say the word. Either way works. And they're knit out of a worsted weight handspun Clun Forest yarn. And this is what's left over from that project. And you can see the Clun Forest, it's actually, I think it's a 4-ply. It's a little bit fuzzy in places, like right there, right underneath my chin, there's a fuzz. But generally, this is spun beautifully well. But it's a lofty, fluffy, slightly irregular yarn. And I really did enjoy working with this. So I thought, as I was wandering around, let's see if they have any Clun Forest. And in fact, they did. This is the bag of Clun Forest. It looks a lot like the bag of tunis. This was not a coated sheet, but it is very clean despite it being not coated, or at least what I can see of it is very clean. When fleece is packed into these bags, they tend to roll the tips to the inside so that you can see the cut end, and sometimes that's a little bit of a lie because sometimes you open it up and you're like, oh, not so clean. But I looked at as best I can without screwing it up in case I decided not to buy it, and it was all right. So this is 2 1/4 pounds, but only $5 a pound. And I read that right this time, $5 a pound. At $5 a pound, if I don't get a pound, so what? Like, that's still cheap. So this cost me $11.25. Can't beat that. This is from Shepherd's Knoll Farm, which is in Phoenix, Maryland. And I think I mentioned it's Clun Forest. So this is a lock from the Clun Forest fleece, which I just pulled off a minute ago. And you can see it's a little bit shorter than the tunis, but not by much. And these, the crimp is a little bit tighter. And the tips they almost look like Shetland, like they're almost dual coat the way that they sort of narrow and there's those little like turnip hairs versus the curly Q of the tunis. So I'm excited to do both of those. This will not happen until after my surgery because holy crap, has my world exploded in the first 2 weeks of June. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But I wanted to mention those because I didn't talk about them last time and I felt bad because I mentioned that I went to Maryland to buy fleece and then didn't talk to you about the fleece. I'm easily sidetracked. Okay. So the other week in review stuff that I've been doing is frolic prep. And I'll talk more about how I do frolic prep in the processes section, which if you have been listening a long time, you already know all about frolic prep. But I will mention it briefly in that section because I spent some time yesterday planning the last few stages, and that's worth me telling you about, I guess. I'm almost done. I have 3 dye days left, 3 full dye days left for Frolic Prep. Frolic is June 4th and 5th at the Windsor Fairgrounds in Windsor, Maine. It's like 9 to 4, I think. $5 to get in. Kids under 12 are free, so it's pretty inexpensive to get in. I am out by the information booth / sheepdog demo section. I have turned the corner this year from where I usually am. The way they changed the gate. And it was this big, huge hullabaloo. So this year, when they did the seating arrangements, the booth placements, I was asked, do I want to move? And I definitely did want to move because my booth was backwards for the way people were coming, and I didn't want that to happen. So I've moved 90 degrees and around the corner. I'm still right next to the information booth, which is close to the old gate, which they won't let you in. But the information booth has electricity. So I can have an outdoor booth space, which I want. I prefer to be outside at Frolic. They have really nice flat ground, and it doesn't get hot. Some of those buildings can get ridiculously hot in the summer. But I'm on the side where Nantucket Bags was last year and Mad Color Fiber Arts was last year. I don't think either of them are there this year. There's other people in the listing. They may. I don't know if Mad Color is coming to Frolic or not. I hope she is, because Heather Spellman is wonderful and I love chatting with her. That's all I know about that. So I have moved the corner, but I'm technically closer now to where you come in, and I am not back to everybody. Generally speaking, we do have a second canopy. I need to verify with my father that I'm still allowed to borrow his second canopy, because they're in the process of emptying my grandmother's house now that it's sold, so I don't know if the canopy is in storage or not. I have to check. But generally, we fill that place with chairs. We just take all the chairs that we have, all the lawn chairs, those foldy in a bag chairs, and so that people can come and hang out and sit in the shade and shoot the breeze, and I get a chance to kind of catch up with people that I don't at shows like Spa, which are significantly tighter space and significantly busier, especially on Sunday. Sunday at Frolic is really for visiting because there's not many people buying, and you make all your money on Saturday, and then Sunday you just hang out. We have Jessa Lou and her husband came and hung out with us for a couple hours one day. Who else has hung out with us? Bev Tilton, Bev is Yarn Crazy. Wendy Deeds from Knit One Heart 2 has hung out with us. Like, we just love hanging out. So come visit. Come cob a squat and hang out with us. If my dad does not loan me his canopy, I will be buying a second canopy because I like having the shady spot. I use all of my 10x10 booth for my product. And so in order for us to stand in a place that's not in the way, we have to be outside of the booth. And the one year we didn't have the canopy because it busted, we burned to a crisp. I burn easy. So you can't tell I look like that, or I burn easy. So there will be a second canopy somehow. Okay, what else do I have? Pippi yarn, which I suppose I do have. Oh yeah, I have it in dye pots. If you ordered the Freedom Calls colorway, which is a speckled alder sock, which you'll see in dye pots in a little bit, all of those will have gone out today. I did have the initial order, and then I had several pre-orders, and I was short like 4 skeins from when I ordered yarn from the pre-order. I forgot that the cones were not 3.5 pounds, they were 3.3 pounds, so I was a little short. But I just ordered another cone, and they're all going out today. So I was very pleased with that colorway. I've been very pleased with the reception to that colorway. You will see how it's knitting up in a minute. And I will have 2 skeins in the shop, which I'll talk about more in dye pots here coming up. Okay. Oh, the only other thing that's happened this week woke me out of a dead sleep. And all of y'all from the South are going to laugh at me, okay? My bed doesn't have a headboard. We have a window right over our heads. And now that it's warmer, finally, we are sleeping with that window open. I like that little bit of breeze coming in at night. So I was lying there in bed. My husband was downstairs getting ready for work, and I was still in bed, kind of in that sort of awake but not really awake, I don't want to function phase. And I heard this sound, and I immediately bolted awake and flipped over on my stomach so I could look out the window. There was a cardinal on the power line outside my house. Now, I have lived in the mountains of Maine for 10 years. I have never seen a cardinal up here. I've never heard a cardinal up here. They are not common, and they're especially not common to those of us like me who don't keep birdseed out year round. I've only seen a handful in my life, really. They're not common up here, and I've never seen one since I moved to Brownville. So I was totally entranced for like 10 minutes. Cardinals just sound so different from every other drab little bird that we have here. We have like chickadees, robins, and goldfinches. I mean, yeah, there's more birds than that, but like robins are the prettiest song that we have here. It's pathetic. So I heard this cardinal, and you guys are laughing at me. I'm sure those of you in like Kentucky and Ohio and stuff are like, girl, you want some cardinals? I can get you some because they're everywhere. But it was astounding, and it totally made my entire day. I'm not really a bird watcher. I don't like buy mealworms and stuff like Amy and Darren do. I don't sit out with binoculars or anything like that, but I do enjoy the flora and the fauna of places. Like right now, the lilacs are opening, and the cherry trees are all in full bloom right now, and it smells amazing when you walk through town. I could walk through town all day and all night, like, if it wasn't for the bugs, because everything smells amazing. So not only am I smelling the lilacs now that are in everybody else's yard, not mine, because I don't have any lilacs, but this cardinal woke me up the other day, and I was just, it was the best thing. Like, that made it into my week in review because it was so astounding. It's the little things, people. It's the little things. I was so stoked to hear him. I really was. I hope he comes back. And it was a male cardinal. Okay. So that's all my week in review. I'm now 15 minutes in. Why does this section take so long? Okay. The next sections are not going to take quite so long. Okay, knitting. I have finished not one, but 2 things because magic is happening. All right, so I showed you last time that I was knitting a brickless, and I finished and blocked and woven my ends of the brickless. So this is out of my white maple sock in the MDSW or bust colorway. The brickless is a pattern by Martina Bem. It is a paid-for pattern available on Ravelry. And as you can see, this sucker is long and strong. So, oh, you didn't get that last little bit. This used the entire skein, which is the point, and it blocked out. I do block things quite heavily. I'm not going to lie, especially if it's lace. I just like it to be blocked really well. Come on. So anyway, sorry. This is white maple sock in the MDSW or bust colorway, and it blocked out to about 6.5 feet long and about 20 inches deep at its deepest point, and that's measured vertically. This is knit on the bias, but you measure it when you blocked it vertically. Incredibly fast knit. There, these 3 sections. There's a yarn over knit 2 together section. There's a garter section, and then there's a ribbing section. And it's like self-striping yarn. You want to get that section done. Each section is a different number of rows. And I'm sorry, my Herring Brothers shirt does not really match. But they're all a different number of rows. And they bind off different numbers. So that takes a little bit of, like, mental preparation. I just had the file saved on my phone. And when I wasn't sure how many to bind off, I just checked real quick. But dead easy knitting, good card knitting, good TV knitting. So fast. If you have a skein of sock yarn that you have been hoarding because you're not sure what it's good for, hello, any into the world, because it's so pretty you don't want to use it, I would strongly recommend this pattern. I don't recommend Volmiza because this is a skein of 410 yards and was 6.5 feet long. That's 100 grams. Volmiza is 150 grams. It's going to be like 12 feet long. Like, just don't. It'll be at least 9 feet long. It's too much. Maybe not Volmiza. I mean, you can and just not use all the yarn. But that's up to you. There's no rules. You don't have to listen to me if you don't want to. But I felt like one skein was a perfect amount of yarn for this project. So, this yarn is special to me. It was dyed by me. That sounds conceited. Specifically to commemorate Monica and me Stitcher and my first trip to Maryland Sheep and Wool. And this color was dyed from the cover art. The Maryland Sheep and Wool has a competition for the art for the cover that's not only on the book but also is on t-shirts and mugs and other things. And so this was 2015, and I showed you the yarn for 2016. It won't be a brickless because I've already done a brickless, but it may be another Martina Bem pattern. This is the 3rd Martina Bem shawl I've knit, and I've loved every one I've done. I've also done the Hitchhiker and the Endless Rainbow, and let me tell you, Martina Bem is genius. And I have learned since the Hitchhiker that the asymmetrical triangle shawl, narrow and long, is it for me. That's my jam. That's my everything, because it's the only shape that I really enjoy. I really don't like traditional shaped shawls, the triangle shawls, top down. And crescents really don't do it for me either. I just love this shape. So, which is funny to me because generally asymmetry drives me insane. I want to see if I have that shawl shapes thing for later. Okay. Yes, I do. Good. I have my entire knitting bag right here. The other thing I finished is stupid. Stupid. because there's no reason this should have been on the needles as long as it was. There's a little bit of psychology going along with this project. They need to be felted one more time, and they're filthy dirty because I've been wearing them, but here are my Fiber Trends felted clogs. And this is knit out of my white ash worsted, which is a singles wool blend yarn, which is actually great for felting. My wash machine just doesn't really like to felt stuff, and I had towels and stuff in there, but it still didn't felt super well. But those are my clogs, and I did the bumper, and I did the 2 soles, and I did all the bits that it said. This took almost exactly 2 skeins of yarn. I had a little ball about this much left over, and I did the woman's large size, which is up to a size 10. And like I said, you can kind of see the lines, so it does need to be felted a little bit harder. One more time through, I think, should do it, but I was too excited to get them on my feet, so I didn't want to overfelt them and have them be too small. They dried really fast too. The second slipper took me an evening to knit. Now these have been on the needles, hanging around in a great big project bag for 6 or 8 months or something. A ridiculous long time. I don't even remember when I cast the first one on. It is a little fiddly because the pattern is written out and you have to read the line. Like, they're not charted. You have to read every line, and every line is different. And sometimes it says like rows 4 through 15. So you have to count how many actual rows. Like, it's a little bit fiddly that way, but you're holding yarn held double on like, I guess 13s, US 13s. It's quick. Even, I mean, they're gigantic when you knit them. They're like this big. And then you felt them down. But these were to replace a pair that Coggy TM made me way back in, like, I want to say 2012 or something. And I have loved those felted clogs to death. I've repaired holes that have blown out in the here underneath the ball of the foot and the heel. I've repaired them like 4 times. I've refelted them several times. They are pancakes now. They are so flat and ridiculous. And every time I put them on, Paul's like, God, you need to make yourself another pair of those. And I was like, I know, but Coggy made me these. Knitters do not knit for other knitters like they knit for family and people who don't knit. So they were just really special to me. And honestly, I want to bury them, like, or cremate them or something. I don't just want to throw them in the trash. I feel like that's not just, I feel like they deserve more than that. They're still, and they're in my boot rack area. I still put them on sometimes. When these are in the bathroom and my worn out coggy clogs are in the kitchen, then the kitchen clogs go on. I can't let them go. Coggy, you need to tell me just toss those because I just can't do it on my own. But anyway, this colorway is called If the Slipper Fits, which was the whole point. I dyed them to make neutral colored clogs. It's kind of a gray green. So those are done. I will stop throwing my dog hair covered tails at you. Now I do have some stuff in progress and I want to show you. I'm going to assume that last time I podcasted I told you I'd finished the first Dr. Sleet ribbed sock in the Eyes Are Always Watching colorway because I haven't knit on that in quite some time. I haven't started the second sock, so I'm going to assume that you knew that. If you didn't know that, the first sock's done. Yay. But I think I told you. So, the Pippi Longstocking yarn that I knit, or that I dyed as part of the Annie Light Knits Sock School Knit Along, which is the summer 2016 knit along. It started May 15th and goes until July 31st. You can find more information at littleskein.com, and if you're knitting along with us, you want the Ravelry group Knit Along with Little Skein. It's not in her regular group. So she dyed yarn and she had yarn dyed and made project bags, and then she also did a specific sock school bag and then had 3 dyers dye colorways. Oh, there's my text. Go with it. So I actually dyed my yarn to match one of her other project bags just because I like the colorway a little bit better. And then I put it up in my shop and people bought it. Yay! That's what I was telling you was all sold out. So this is what it looks like. This is the bottom of the sock. I have cast this on. This sock is going to be a new design for me. I have not designed a sock in a while. And Sock School has 2 levels. Socks 101 for those people who maybe have not done socks or not done many socks or are not comfortable knitting socks. And Socks 201, which is like the next level, you know, the challenge level. And she had asked in the thread in the little skein, knit along with a little skein group of what's your challenge. And I was like, why don't I just design a new sock? So here's the design. And you can tell it is skewing the foot a little bit. I'm all right with that. This is a diagonal bias. It's actually lace, although it's quite tight. You can kind of see it in there. It's a diagonally biasing, almost a slip stitch pattern. I wonder, do I have my auto focus on? I do. So autofocus already. Sometimes it takes a minute. Come on. Ugh, it's such a pain. Anyway, sorry about that. This sock yarn is my Speckled Alder sock, which is a new sock base. But what I'm really enjoying, this is my first time knitting it. It's 90% superwash Targhee, 10% nylon. And I told you I was getting big into breed-specific wools and yarns. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know what that was. It sounded like an air brake. This yarn feels really nice. It's dense, but lofty at the same time, and it's got a good amount of smush, and it's got a smooth sensation to it as well. So it's superwash Targhee. I should have said if I didn't say that already. I have told you many times, I think that I prefer the sensation of smooth to soft. I'm not really a big fan, for example, of MCN yarns because they're too soft to me. I like a smooth, like a BFL or something like that. And Targhee's spongy, but when knit up like this, it does have a smooth feel to it, and I really am enjoying it. Let me show you. I'm going to reach right. I'm going to get super close. Sorry. I dyed 2 extra skeins of the Freedom Calls colorway. This is it. It's a speckle base. So it's dyed in a light blue, and then I speckle all these colors over it, and they kind of do their thing throughout, which now you know how that looks. And these 2 will be in the shop hopefully by the time this podcast uploads. I just got to take the photo and get it on in the shop. I am doing these. I'm gonna knit these long, I think. I divided the yarn into 2 skeins. This is a large skein. It's like 460 yards. So it's a light yarn. I mean, it's a regular size fingering, but because the Targhee has so much sponge and smoosh, you get a lot of yardage out of this. So it's got a lot of loft. I'm gonna see. We'll see if I knit these socks that long. These are going to be probably my primary project once the second Dr. Slate sock is done, because I am nearing surgery and I want to have those for him. I'd like to have them for my pre-op on June 3rd, but I don't know that that's going to happen. And this is riding around in my Little Skein Sock School Summer 2016 official project bag. It's a cute little tote, little tiny tote with a canvas bottom, and it stands up really nice all by itself. It's got a really good feel to it, and those adorable little handles. So that's the first thing that I'm working on. And then the second thing I'm working on, when you bind things off, when I bind things off, I immediately have a severe case of castonitis. I just have to do that. I did frog another project too. I don't know if you remember years ago, Silly Fru and I did a hashtag SPK HMOSG, which is a Sassy Pants Knitter hot mess of sock goodness, where we just took a bunch of fibers, spun them up into yarn, and we're going to make socks. I just turned the heel of the first sock. This has been a years-long project, and it's too tight to fit on my foot. So I frogged it. I'm probably going to make a cattywampus hat, since my cattywampus hat did not come back from Sacramento with me. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I had the big bag where all of my project bags hang out in is not as full. So I decided I needed to cast some stuff on. So I grabbed my great big Girl Cave bags, Woodland Creatures. This is like a sweater size bag. She does not make a lot of these, because in order to ship them, she has to fold them, and she doesn't like to do that, which I totally understand. Sometimes at shows you can grab one. This was made specially for me because Rista is awesome, and so is Annette, and who was the impetus behind me getting that. And I cast on a new shawl. Now, I was going to knit the Mrs. Winston, which is, no, Mrs. Watson. God, words today. The Mrs. Watson shawl is another Martina Bem pattern, which is a solid garter triangle with sort of leaves done in short rows that sort of bend into the middle. So it's almost like a leaf pattern. Like it's got, you know how leaves have those spines. And I was going to do that, but the leaf color, the short row color, the complementary color, is this ball of singles yarn that I have from Josette, which is Enchanted Knoll Farms. This is the Common Grackle colorway, and that I spun up into a singles yarn. And those contrast sections in the Mrs. Watson shawl have short rows, and the instructions are like knit to 3 stitches before the last wrap and turn, knit to 2 before the last wrap and turn on the next row, and like in that yarn it was too tough for me to see where the wrap and turns were. So it was just not working. So I got like 1 stripe in and I was like, it's not happening. Not happening. The other yarn that I'm using for this shawl is Spunky Eclectic. Hang on, I've got the label. I should have did it before I sat down. I'm sorry. This is Spunky Eclectic Mountain Sport, which is superwash targy wool with 20% silk, which I actually use, but I use as a light worsted. 350 yards in the colorway Ginkgo, which is this like neon highlighter yellowish green. That's accurate to the color and the brightness. I love it. And so what I decided to do was a shawl that is a little different than what I normally do. You can see this looks like a square. It's not. It's an elongated half hexa shawl. So I'll talk more about the shape in a second. This yarn, this 2-color shawl is knit completely in garter. And what I'm doing is each stripe is the length is being decided by the roll of a die. I like that idea. It keeps me from getting bored, and it's a little bit random. So basically, every time I do a section, I roll a die to find out how many garter ridges the next section will have. You can see the section that I'm doing right now has 1, 2, 3. I'm on the 4th garter ridge. This is actually going to be 6 garter ridges. So I have a few more rows to do. You can see there was one that I got a 1 on there. And there's 2 ways to do this. If I'm home and I'm on the couch in my knitting space next to my stand, I just roll an actual die. I have this gold sparkly Yahtzee die from the special 50th anniversary edition. I don't know why you care about that. But if you Google roll a die, Google has a little like virtual die that you can click roll die and it will roll it and randomly give you a number. So I'm doing that as well when I'm in the car or whatever. You have to force yourself to not be like, nah, I don't like that number, change it. Really, because if you do, your biases will affect the colorway. So I'm really struggling to be like, oh, that's the 3rd 4 in a row. I've got to do it. Turn. I'm trying. Now, I say this is an elongated half hexie because this is why I needed the shawl. Susan, if you are watching this and I should not have told everybody this, please let me know and I will issue an apology. So I took a shawl shapes class with Susan B. Anderson, and I am not going to tell you everything that was in the class, but I will tell you my mind was blown like 8 times. It was just headcanon because Susan B. Anderson is so freaking smart. And I don't want to show the actual thing, but in her shawl shapes class, she talked about a number of shapes, and this is the handout that we got. So this is the half hexagon shape, and it says basically it's top down. So you start here, and then there are double increases on these sections, and then a single increase across the top. What I've done for the elongated half hexagon is I've made double increases along the top as well. So I have double increases going this way and double increases going this way. So basically it will be narrower and longer. Here's why I decided to do that. I would like to have a shawl that I can put over my shoulders that will crisscross across my boobs and tie in the back. In order for that to happen, A, this has to be a very big shawl, and B, it needs to have long, narrow ends, kind of like this does. So it needs to have ends that stretch quite some distance. I have 350 yards of the ginkgo and 400 yards, roughly 396 or something yards of the Enchanted Knoll farm. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to get a significant size of this as I go. It may not happen. We'll see what occurs when I get there. But that's my hope. That's basically how I design is, well, I kind of want this thing. Let's just try it. There's a lot of failure involved in that. But I should listen to Thomas Edison. It's not failure. It's several dozen ways not to design something. So once this is all done, it's very simple, and it will probably be a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't expect anything magnificent from it, but I am liking the play of the color. So, oh my god, I'm like 36 minutes in. That's my knitting. Oh, sorry. I do want to mention, too, my stitch markers. These are from Owls on Dante's. This is the giveaway that I had. This is the beginning of the row marker, which is this beautiful thistle. My husband is of Scottish descent. I'm not an Outlander fan. But I got the thistle because it reminded me of him. His boutonniere at our wedding was a Scotch thistle. And then this is just a plain rose bead to go with it. And then I also have the Progress Keeper, which is this awesome octopus / cracky knee type Davy Jones face sort of thing. And again, it's not going to focus because my thing hates me. I will move this Progress Keeper now that I've actually talked to you about the shawl to this row so that you can see my progress as I go. Progress will slow down because the rows are getting longer. I'm knitting these on my Chigu US 6, I think. Yep, US 6 4mm needles. I don't have any long cables right now. I need to order some. So I have, with Chigu, it's opposite the way other interchangeable needles work in that the pokey out part, the outie, is actually on the cable. Nope, it's not on the cable. It's on the needle. So instead of the needles being a receptacle, they're the outie. So I combined two 16-inch cable needles, and then, I don't know, you probably can't see, there's a little thing with a hole right there in the middle. They use the screw-in caps that you can put on the cables when you take your needles off so that the stitches don't pop off. You can unscrew the plastic cap, and then you get this little piton, which has got a hole in it for screwing things in, and then two outies on the other side. So I connected two 16-inch cables. So if you have the Chigu interchangeable kit, let me explain to you what I'm talking about. The Chigu interchangeable kit comes with this cute little cap, and that's the piece. So it has the screw tip, and if you unscrew this, you get another one, so you can combine your cables to make them longer. Those are all the short cables. I need to order more cables. It's not that that longer cables didn't come with this, because it did, but they're just all in projects. Anyway. All right, so I think I've talked to you all about that. What else did I have that I was knitting? Is that it? Hippie sock, brickless, shawl, and then the Kernical, which I haven't cast on yet, so I'll tell you about that in a minute, because that's part of Grabby Hands. Okay, put all that back in my bag. Take a drink, because I'm parched. The spinning is nothing, because it's still the camel silk, and I haven't spun in a couple weeks, so sorry. Dye pots. I already showed you the Freedom Calls colorway. Those two will be in the shop. I also have put up a pre-order. And the pre-order is for Fruju. Now, I wish I had brought a scan out here to show you. Fruju is one of my most requested colorways. It's a 6-color rainbow and sort of fluorescent colors. And then the other half of the skein is black or semi-solid black. And so as you knit, you get this like rainbow black isolation effect. If you go on to Highland Handmades yarn page, so go to Ravelry.com and then search for Highland Handmades yarn, go into white maple sock and then search by the colorway Fruju. You can see the projects that people have done, and Fruju looks incredible knit up. That also sounds conceited, but people are picking great projects. My running mitts were knit out of Fruju, and I really enjoyed working with it. But it's not just a white maple sock option, because I've opened it to, I have several variants for other bases. So you could, pre-order a skein of Fruju in sugar maple, silver maple, speckled alder, white maple, mountain maple, or red maple sock. 6 options, I think. There might be 7. I think there's 6. Which is not all my sock bases, but is my most common sock bases. Oh, Ironwood sock is the other one. That's the new sparkle yarn. You can get sparkly Fruju, which I think would be amazing. Amazing. I haven't dyed it yet, so I haven't seen it, but I'm several people have ordered speckled alder and Ironwood. Those have been the 2 most popular ones, so I can't wait to dye that up. I think it's going to look awesome. So if you want in on that, or go ahead and order it. Those will ship before my surgery on June 17th, so by June 16th, I hope to have those shipped out. There's no specific cal in mind, but because I really only dye it for shows, and I only have a few shows a year, it's hard to get a hold of. So if you have wanted to skein a Fruju, you haven't had a chance, go ahead and get it. And maybe try the speckled alder sock or the Ironwood sock if you haven't yet. Try a new to you base and see what you think. So yeah, so that's that. Thank you already to the dozen or so people who have ordered it. I'm pretty excited. Okay, processes. Oh, no, wait, hang on. Dye pots, freedom calls. Yeah, okay, processes. So 2 things I want to talk about. The first thing is organizing show prep. Now, this is what I have left to dye up for Frolic. This is 3 days. I've divided them up, and each day is set up to be, I can dye approximately 18 pans a day, because that's how many pans my dye cabinet will hold. I could keep going, but at that point usually I'm exhausted, so 18 is about what I can do in a day. And so I've divided them up by bases so that I have roughly 17 to 18 pans per day. This top day is basically all semi-solids, so it'll take me a couple hours. These ones, which have more variegateds, take a lot longer, so we're looking at 4 or 5 hours there. I may switch some of these around to give myself a bigger balance between semi-solid and variegated yarns, just to save my own brain. But this is a culmination of 3 or 4 different pages, 2 different spreadsheets, highlighted stuff, notes, crisscrossed out stuff, a whole lot of mess. This helps me de-stress a little because I can see what I have to do and then divide it up by day. And even I can change my mind. I don't kill myself if I decide to change things, but at least it's here and it's on paper. So I have dyeing to do today, so that will be next up. But I have 2 of these days already divided, and then I just need to finish dividing the butternut DK. I still have to do the superwash BFL, and then I have the red maple sock to do. So if I have any time left over tonight, that's what I'll be doing. I have 3 days of dyeing. What's today? Thursday. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Sunday will be club dyeing, and then Monday will be prepping it all, and then Tuesday it'll be going out, and then Friday is my pre-op appointment and the day that we drive down to Frolic. So it will be packing the van and all of that good stuff. I told you my schedule just got crazy busy. My brother is also coming home. He's in the military, and he's coming home from he's stationed in Nebraska. First time he's been home in several years, and he's coming home June 5th through the 12th. I'm going to be on the J.E. Riggin sailing in the Atlantic Ocean from June 8th to the 11th, and Frolic is the 4th and 5th. So I have to figure out how to get to visit with him, and my mom is emailing me constantly because she wants to know when I'm going to come down and get the stuff from Grammy's house because they sold the house, and so they're emptying it. Woman, I'll be down on the 4th and the 5th, okay? I don't have anything more specific than that because I'm busy. I'm so busy. It's so good, but it's feast or famine. I mentioned that on Facebook today. Like, either it's dead and I've got tons of time to be creative and cool and hang out and make stuff, or I'm slammed. I don't know if that's my poor planning or just the way the business works, but dang, I'm pooped. I'm pooped, y'all. I don't know where y'all is coming from today. I used to use it when I was waitressing because you got better tips. We don't say y'all up here, but whatever. Okay, the other thing I want to talk to you in processes is something that I did kind of on the secret. Now, I am known for making snap decisions and just going with it. I tend to think about things when I'm running or when I'm skating or when I'm doing things that don't occupy my whole brain. And I kind of ruminate on them, and then all of a sudden I'll make the decision, and then it all has to be done right then. I decided that it was time to leave Big Cartel, which is my online shop software. Big Cartel is fabulous, and it's a perfectly viable option for small business. It really is, especially online shops. But there's some things about Big Cartel that aren't as good as they could be. Number one, there's no gift card option. So I have to manually make every person's gift card in Word and then save it as a PDF. I don't know why my dog is barking. Maybe he'll stop. And then email it to the person. And there's no automation for that. And I have to put in the code and then put in the discount code. And it's just a process. In addition, there's no way to set a whole update at once. So when I've got stuff like the sparkle yarn that people are refreshing the page for, I have to go in and individually activate each listing. Which, when you've got a small update of 12, it's not a big deal. But when you have 30 things going live, it takes several minutes, and people get a little ugly when it's 12 o'clock and you said 12 o'clock and it's 12:02 when it's not available yet. So the other thing, there were several other things about Shopify that I wanted to make the switch, but I really would like an option to get away from PayPal, because PayPal is the devil. I'm sure PayPal's not going to be pleased I said that, but they watch this podcast, right? PayPal is endlessly frustrating for me, especially from a shipping perspective. Their multi-order shipping tool busts all the time, and what should take me 3 hours sometimes takes me 9 hours because their stupid multi-order shipping doesn't work the way it should, and you can't force it through. And when you're doing club, for example, and I have 70 packages going out, manually printing out 70 labels and typing in everyone's address, it's no. So I wanted a way to grow beyond those limitations. Enter Shopify. Now, my friend Rachel of On the Round Yarn, ontheround.com, has been using Shopify for quite some time, and she raves about it. It is more expensive. I was on the $30 a month plan with Big Cartel, and I'm on the $80 a month plan with Shopify. But Shopify has their own POS. So when I am at a show, I can use the Shopify tool on my phone with the e-reader like you do with Square, and it will take the stuff out of my inventory in the shop. So all those times in Big Cartel that I had to close the shop and then the next day manually go through all of my product and enter and take out what I have left, I don't have to do that anymore. It will automatically deduct what is in my shop inventory out. That's fantastic. It's going to save me hours of work. Gift cards are automatic. They're digitally available. I don't have to do anything. I set up what the gift card options are, and I activate them in the shop. They do the coupon code. They do the distribution of the, sending the e-gift card, all of that. I don't have to do it. That will save me hours of work. I'm also hoping, Rachel has said that her gift card sales increased when she switched, so I'm hoping that maybe husbands and stuff will order more gift cards simply because they can. And it will be much easier. They don't have to email me and ask me. That will be awesome. Shopify also has integrated apps like shipping tools. Now, Rachel uses ShipStation. I can't use ShipStation because it uses stamps.com, which I hate, A, and B, which won't activate with a P.O. box, which is all I have because I live in a tiny town that has no rural mail delivery. So, ShipStation. I was a little irritated by that. But instead I'm using Shippo. which Shippo doesn't have a monthly fee. You pay a nickel for every label that you print, which if you factor in what I was paying in PayPal fees, like it's not any different. Because PayPal takes a portion not only of your sale transaction, but also your shipping. So when I collect money from shipping from you guys, PayPal actually takes a cut of that. So, cue PayPal. I didn't actually say the word, so there was no need to disclaimer. It was like, that's not a real word. So anyway, Shopify has all these things. It has been a learning curve. I did have to call them and ask them for a couple of things. Because I wanted to have the quantity written on there, and there were a couple other questions that I had. They were very helpful and American, which was wonderful. There was no language barrier or accent barrier. And I like the theme. I did play around with several themes before I found one that I really enjoyed, but the themes are customizable, and I was able to set colors, and I like the way that it looks. You can search by tags, so when you search the all yarn, you can search by BFL, nylon, merino, bamboo, targi, whatever, and it will show you all of the products in that category, which I like. I did have somebody say they wish they could shop by sock yarn base, and I will simply add those base tags in. So I will have white maple as a tag, green ash as a tag, so that should you want to look for one of those specific things, you can. That was not available to me in Big Cartel. You could search by sock yarn, but couldn't divide it down into further. So you won't have to if you don't want to on Shopify, but you will have that option going forward. So thank you, whomever said that to me. That is not active yet, but I will make sure that happens. What else, Shopify? I didn't warn any of you guys that it was happening because I wasn't sure how it was going to work, and I didn't want to say anything until it was done. If you're hearing paper rustling, I'm sorry. I have tissue paper taped to my windows to soften the light because I don't have curtains. I know. But the tissue paper acts as a filter for photos, so it works for me. What are you going to do? Yeah, so my friends Monica and Christine did take a look at the site when I first uploaded it, before I masked it to go to shop.highlandhandmades.com. And they gave me a couple of things that they pointed out, and that was nice. The only thing my theme does not have that Big Cartel did is a contact me page. I need to do some research to see if I can add one of those pages to it. But until then, it does say at the bottom of the page, contact us, and it has my email address, but you have to open your own email program and actually send me an email. I don't have a problem with that personally, because a lot of the Big Cartel messages just didn't get to me. I had several angry emails from people saying, hey, I messaged you on Big Cartel and whatever, where's my response? And it's because some Big Cartel messages didn't come through, especially international emails. And I don't know what that was all about. Hopefully that won't happen now. But I will check to see if there's a way to get a contact us page so you can drop me an email. Okay, this is getting long. It's 53 minutes. So I just want to very quickly talk about grabby hands. Grabby hands is not a visual. It's more words. Let me take a drink. I am going to be participating in a second CAL this summer. First one is the sock school. The second one is put on by Corinna Ferguson. Is it Corinna or Karina? I don't know. Picnic Knits is her name. She is a designer on Ravelry, and she makes fabulous shawls. I'm in a shawl kind of mood, I guess. Corinna is having a 55% off sale in her Ravelry pattern store. She's Picnic Knits, or you can search Corinna Ferguson, Corinna, and then Ferguson. I don't want to spell it because I'll get it wrong. She has wonderful shawl patterns, and not only does she have single patterns, but she also has some shawl ebooks. All of that is 55% off right now. And then there's going to be a summer shawl along, she's calling it, that starts June 1st. That's going to be my recovery shawl knitting. I hope to have that hexagonal shawl done by then. We'll see how that all works out. I might be working on 2 shawls while I recover from surgery. We'll see. There is a hashtag, at least on Instagram, that I did see. The hashtag is hashtag CFSSAL, Corinna Ferguson Summer Shawl Along. So CFSSAL, if you want to play. She has one shawl pattern called Incendiary. I think that's what it's called. That's specifically designed for variegated yarns. I have 2 of her shawl patterns. I'm sorry, I'm going to pull this up on Ravelry so that I can tell you what shawl patterns they are. No, I won't, because I'm blocked right now because of Leech Block. I'm sorry. But I have 2 of her shawl patterns, and I'm going to be knitting one of those. I do not have the yarn picked out yet, and I may not start until after the 18th. We shall see. I don't know what kind of time I'm going to have between now and then to do it. I have other things that need to get finished first. But I do want to knit along. Karina's designs are lovely, and I've purchased from her several times, but I have not actually knit any of her shawls. So I'm going to knit one of the 2 that I have. Please join us. Please join us. And even if you're not going to join us for the cow, check out Karina's patterns on Ravelry, because her designs are so beautiful. And with 50% off, there's a code. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. So you have to go to her Instagram, which is Picnic Knits. I could probably just tell you what it is. Let me search. The code is SSAL. So if you go to her Ravelry store and put in code SSAL, you'll get 50% off the patterns. Now let me tell you. Oh, hold on. I just got another message. Shh. So there's this whole summer shawl along page. All of these shawls and ebooks are 55% off with the coupon code SSAL. So if you go to Ravelry.com, designers Corinna Ferguson is Ferguson, and bundles. And you can see she's got 2 color shawls, lacy shawls, top-down shawls, sideways shawls, highly variegated. It is incendiary. Lacy, thick, sideways shawlettes. She's got sets that are 7 songs, 7 sonnets, 7 sheep. She has some really cool stuff. I have the Cavelli, I believe. Nope, maybe that's what it is. I have the Cordell and one other one. Might be the Cavelli. And I haven't decided which one I'm going to do yet, but here's just an example of some of the stuff that she has in her shop. They're all beautifully photographed. And although I don't think she's the model, she should be, because she's beautiful. Not that you have to be beautiful to be a model for shawl knitting, but I would love to see her face more. Her shawls are really beautiful too. So do that. That's Grabby Hands. That's what's coming up. So I'm full of finger today. I don't know what that's all about. Oh, there's your quote, full of finger. Can you tell I am overstressed and underslept? All right, guys. It's 58 minutes, and that does not count intro or conclusion or any of that crap. I've got to go. I will probably not podcast again before Fiber Frolic. That's life. Maybe you'll get an episode next week, but I kind of doubt it. There may be a very narrow window in which I podcast between Fiber Frolic and the J.E. Rigging Cruise, which you can still sign up for if you want, mainwindjammer.com, mainwindjammer.com. Stop it! Come sail with us and knit with us and eat all the foods with us. It is going to be beautiful, June 8th through the 11th. There will be a sheep shearing demo. There will be amazing foods and sailing and ocean. I may never leave. Anyway, so there may be a window between Frolic and the J.E. Riggin that I record, but you may not hear from me again until after J.E. Riggin. I promise I will record before I have my surgery. That's on 17th. If I haven't said it 18 times because I'm so freaking excited about it. Okay, I'm going for real this time. I really hope you guys are having a fabulous week and that your summers are off to a wonderful start. If you have kids at home, I hope they are occupied with something productive and quiet. And until next time, happy spinning and knitting, and thanks for tuning in.